So thank you everyone so much for being here. As Dyson said, like my talk is on using Twitch and live streaming to engage your developer fan base. Now we just heard from Matt about YouTube, so it's really exciting that this is actually back to back. And a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about in this talk isn't just related to Twitch as well. You can take it into any kind of live streaming platform, but I'm going to focus on Twitch as the main example here. So before I jump into that, just a little bit about me first. So I'm the developer community manager at GitHub. So I get to do amazing things with the developer community. I get to do talks like this. I get to find really awesome developers and open source projects and promote them. And obviously one of the things we've been doing a lot is content as well. So we'll talk about that. On a personal level, you can find me on so many of these channels, from GitHub to Twitter, obviously Twitch, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. I love to do some Twitch streaming in my own time as well. So everything from live coding to video gaming, you'll probably find me doing. So yeah, it's really exciting. So what I want to talk about today is engaging your audience. So obviously there's so many different ways to engage audiences, and what we're doing even right now is engaging an audience, right? As I mentioned, a lot of the stuff we're going to be talking about isn't just specific to Twitch. We can use it across a number of different live streaming platforms, but I really want to use Twitch as the main example because it's the one that's really kind of shined, particularly in the last year. We'll talk about some of the examples there. So why Twitch though? Like, why are we talking about Twitch? Why are we talking about live streaming? So if you have been living under a rock for the last year, you'll remember that not so long ago we had really cool stuff like this. This is from DevRelCon Tokyo back in 2019. I'm really sad that I never actually got to a physical DevRelCon Tokyo, but fingers crossed that this will happen to go back in person again. I really, really love to go see it in person, but you know, a couple of years ago, or even this time, like earlier last year, February, I think was my last IRL, a lot of our conferences and meetups and gatherings, they look like this, you know, rooms full of people. I'm excited. I just really want to ask the team, like, you know, some of the questions about the drafts and things here, but you know, it was such a fun time. So we went from that, you know, just over 12 months ago, to this, and you know, most people find this, you know, very familiar. You know, everything we have done now is moved to virtual. Everything from, you know, our team meetings, our stand-ups, our one-on-ones, our doctor's appointments, catch up with friends and family, and obviously conferences have all gone virtual too. It's just like you're all tuning in now. So while there's a lot of this kind of like virtual connections and stuff, people can still feel a little bit disconnected. Like even right now, right? I'm sitting here, I'm in my room, I'm talking to, I don't know how many people are watching this, but I feel really excited, but it's so different, right? Like I'm not in a room, I can't feel the energy, I can't see the audience, I can see the chat moving, but that's about all I can see. So people can still feel disconnected. And so if we look back, or pretty much this time last year, GitHub was supposed to host GitHub Satellite in Paris in like the start of May, and in less than 2 weeks we had to turn this around into a virtual conference. This was quite interesting, challenging, but it wasn't just us that did this, right? I mean, I was meant to be speaking at DevRelCon Tokyo last year in person. We obviously moved that to the middle of the year and moved that to virtual. So at GitHub, we sort of looked at this landscape and went, we think that this pandemic and this type of virtual environment and these kind of virtual talks are going to happen at least until the end of next year. So we had a chat like with our team and with a few of the others, like, what do we do to engage a community? So if anyone knows, you know, or you've interacted or engaged with GitHub in person, you'll know that we do a lot of different things. We obviously host our satellite, we host our Universe conference, we will often be at other events and conferences, either hosting a booth, we might be speaking, we've got meetups, We engage with our community in so many different ways. So we thought, okay, if this, this VirtualCon environment is going to last until the end of the year, how do we actually engage our audiences, all the time? Like, we can't just have a virtual conference once a week. We can't just have, just host meetups. Like, how else can we engage with the community and make our community feel really connected to us in this new digital age, and connected to us in a time where people are just really, really feeling disconnected? So luckily within GitHub, myself and a couple of other hubbers, so at GitHub we call ourselves hubbers, we had some experience live streaming. So before this time last year, I already had a fair bit of experience live streaming. I was streaming video games. I'd hosted some events online on my channel and things like that. So yeah, like, we started having a look at this platform and going, could we potentially use this as a platform to engage our audiences? But one of the biggest questions people asked us, and people still ask us right now, one second, virtual events mean that other things happen. So I've got a delivery at the door. I'm just going to send my housemate over there. There we go. There you go, multitasking. So one of the biggest questions we had with Twitch, not so much me in particular, because I was very engaged in this, but question people kept asking us is, isn't Twitch just a platform for video gaming? Isn't it just a place where people go and they watch people play games and they engage in it? Well, to answer that question, Twitch has changed a lot in terms of its platform. Yes, it's still massively popular for video games. And if we look at the games that are really, really popular last year, the most popular being League of Legends with 1.4 billion hours watched, just insane. Fortnite with nearly 1 billion hours watched. Valorant with over 500 million hours watched, and Dota with just under 500 million hours watched. These are from last year. So these are some of the games that you might have seen. And when people think about Twitch, they often think, okay, it's just video gaming and it's just people playing games and things like that. So while it is massive for games, in fact, if we look at the most watched categories on YouTube, one of them is called Just Chatting. And last year alone, Just Chatting received 1.9 billion hours of watched content. That is a 65% increase from the year before. And overall, Twitch had, I think it was like 18 billion hours of content watched. And not all of that content is video games. So when we were talking about this within GitHub, we thought, okay, what else can we do? What else are people streaming on Twitch? How are people engaging? These Just Chatting streams that people are watching, 1.9 billion hours of, what are they actually watching? So if we have a look at some of the categories, obviously Just Chatting is one of those categories. So again, Twitch isn't just about video gaming. So here's some of the trending categories that people look at. One of those is special events. In the last 7 days alone, special events has received 1.5 million hours of watched content. So special events is things like DevRelCon Tokyo. If this was streaming on YouTube, if this is streaming on Twitch right now, this would probably be under special categories. So we're seeing this category really jump. Things like conferences, meetups, and stuff are really making a big splash in this category. And in the last 7 days alone, this category has increased its watched hours by over 760%, which is insane. Some of the other categories that might be streamed on Twitch, apart from gaming, is music, sports, art, and the one that we want to focus on today is science and technology, which has got just under 1 million hours of viewed content in the last 7 days alone. This has jumped up 7% since last week as well. So we have a look at these categories and, talk about Just Chatting as well. We can see that Twitch is really not just a platform just for people doing video gaming. We can see it's really a platform for so many other things. So the one I really want to focus on at the moment is the science and technology. This is the category that we at GitHub have started really streaming in and around, and a lot of the other channels that I'm going to talk about here really run under this science and technology banner. So if we have a look at it, I just jumped on last night to check how many followers this category had. Over 500,000 followers now in this category. I did a presentation similar to this about September last year, and this number was only 232,000. So it's more than doubled since last year, which is crazy. Some of the top clips, so as in like top little snippets of content watched, have like nearly 500,000 views or over 500,000 views on those. If we have a look at the type of content that's being streamed, coding, PC builds, and robotics. So a lot of the companies here that are probably listening in, a lot of the companies that are streaming, this is the kind of stuff we're streaming on the Science and Technology channel. Live coding is a massive thing, and we're going to talk about that because that's one way to really engage your developer fan base. So if we have a look at some of the subcategories, so Twitch has this thing called subcategories at the moment, and these subcategories will fall under science and technology. These are really useful to use because, for example, if you're doing PC builds, there's a category for that. But these are the kind of categories that are really have a really high affinity with DevRel. So you can see programming, web dev, software development, and game dev. I know Matt talked a lot about game development and how that is really growing on YouTube. It's really growing on Twitch as well, which is really exciting. Now, to get an idea of some of the organizations who are streaming on Twitch as well, I'm just going to call a couple of them out. There's obviously a lot more than this, but these are some of the companies and orgs that are streaming on Twitch. One of them is called the Live Coders. So this is a group of people. I think it's over 200 people now, and these streamers specifically stream code. So they stream a lot on live coding, whether it's a project that they're working on. Some of them even stream like the work that they're doing, which is really exciting. Give me 1 second. And then we have the Twitch developers. So Twitch itself actually has a developer channel, and they stream some really, really cool content around some of the Twitch integrations and stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit. One that's doing really well is Twilio. So Twilio stream their Signal conference. They stream talks with some of their Twilio champions and some other really cool content. So they're really fun. IBM, so IBM Developer has a channel, which in fact, I'm actually talking on that channel straight after this conference. I'm giving a talk on how to GitHub like a boss. So they're currently running their hackathon on their channel right now called Code. So they do some really cool stuff. I mentioned GitHub. We have a number of channels on Twitch. So we have the GitHub channel, we have the GitHub Enterprise channel, we have the GitHub Education channel. We stream a whole bunch of different stuff, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Another one is Microsoft. They stream stuff like their Microsoft build. They stream like live demos and things like that. There's also heaps of other channels. Matt mentioned a couple of them, like Unity stream really cool stuff. There's also a lot of community groups who stream on Twitch, including Major League Hacking. Obviously, DevRelCon have their own channel, Razor Dev, and so many more. So what are these channels actually streaming? So Matt talked a little bit in his about like some of the content that people are streaming or putting together on YouTube. When we're talking about live streaming, here's some of the things that people are streaming. So talks. So talks are one of those things that get streamed out onto the channel. So it might be, oh, look, I was supposed to do a talk at DevRelCon Tokyo last year and it didn't go ahead. So could we potentially stream this talk out on our channel? GitHub like a boss. Let's talk about it. Let's stream that out. Another one is meetups. We've been doing a lot of this on our channel as well, on the GitHub channel. So we've been streaming meetups for LATAM, for Africa. We've got one coming out for Korea. We've done one for India. And these are a really good way to like host your meetup in the similar kind of way to what you would IRL, but you're just streaming it on your channel platform. What I mentioned was coding. So live coding is becoming like quite a big thing on Twitch. Really fun. I do this on my personal channel as well. So I'll just get on and choose a project or even like a course to do. And so many people will just jump in and like code along with me. Like, you know, oh, you missed a semicolon there or you did something there. Coding is such a really fun way to engage your audience. Events, I mentioned like Microsoft Build, stream on the Microsoft channel. DevRelCon Tokyo, they streamed all their interviews on their channel. Twilio streams out SignalConf. There's so many cool events that are streaming on Twitch. So a lot of companies are streaming that. Another one interesting is interviews. So as I mentioned, DevRelCon did this, but we do this on our GitHub channel quite a lot, where we'll get maintainers, open source maintainers onto the channel, and we'll just have a chat with them. We'll talk to them about their project, what they're working on, how to get involved, top tips and things like that. So we really want to engage people that way. And interviews is a really fun way to do that. Hackathons, I mentioned IBM has their hackathon at the moment. So streaming out hackathons is another one that people like to do on their channels. Product features. I really, really like this one. So product features, we've done this a little bit on the GitHub channel, but even I streamed something similar for Microsoft Build last year. So I jumped onto Microsoft Build and streamed Code Spaces, which is one of the new product suites coming to GitHub. So this is really fun. You can really show off a lot of your product and have like a really fun, engaging conversation with people up there. Another one is reviews. So whether we like get on and review somebody's README profile on GitHub or we review an open source project. One that we did recently was we jumped on and reviewed pull requests. So people sent in all their pull requests and we sat there and reviewed them all and, you know, what works, what doesn't, does this get merged into the code and that kind of thing. So there's lots of different things you can stream out on your content. So some of the advantages of live streaming, people say like, why do we do live streaming? One of those is because it's really engaging for the audience. People really love to tune in. It's slightly different than having like a YouTube video go out. Like Matt said, it's not just you don't just put the content there and people watch it in their own time. It's really, really engaging for the audience. They get the chance to come in and be part of that process. They get to come in and talk to you and talk to the other people in chat, just like some of you are doing right now in the YouTube chat. So I mentioned a lot of this stuff isn't specific just for Twitch. So if you're doing any kind of live streaming, that engagement is there with the audience. Another really good one is just people can tune in and out. I often, while I'm working, I often have one of the live coders just streaming in the background. And I'll just be sitting there just like listening to them while I'm working away. And then they might say something that piques my interest and I'll jump into the chat and say, hey, that feature's really cool. Nice work. So that kind of tuning in and out is really good. And that comes with this live kind of content, which is slightly different to having, again, a video on YouTube. So having like live streams often go for a lot longer than a YouTube video. So your YouTube video might go anywhere between 5 minutes and 20 minutes and maybe an hour for some of the really long ones. But live streaming goes anywhere from like half an hour to, 5, 6, 7 hours. So it's that you can really tune in and out and be part of that process with the streamer. It's really personal as well. What I like about it is that I can interact with people in the chat. So people are saying in the chat right now, like, don't forget Amazon. Yes, Amazon is one of the, they stream a lot on Twitch as well. So I can sit here and interact and engage with the audience while we're doing this. So Sid's saying there's so many dev streamers, like amazing dev streamers. That's really cool. I can't do that in a pre-recorded video. I can't sit here and interact with the chat in that way. So that becomes that real personal nature. And even when I'm streaming on my own personal channel, I'll get people jumping in and saying, hey, when's GitHub doing this? Or, can I be part of this process and things like that. So it becomes this really personal nature, which is what I really love about live streaming. The next one is it is really timely. So when we say timely, it's that one-on-one interaction. You say something, I can say something back. I might be halfway through a line of code and someone says, hey, Mish, can you tell me about the README profile stuff? And we're like, sure, give me a second. So I'll like take a little bit of time and then I will, jump in and, show people that. So being able to have that interaction is really cool there. Schedules, so you can have schedules where people, will come in and tune in on a regular basis, so people know that I roughly stream roughly every night. It's dropped off a little bit with some issues we've been having with life, but that's okay. But people know there's usually a schedule they can come to, kind of like TV in that sense. You can come in as like a regular time that you can interact with a viewer or with a streamer. Resources, so you can really show off a lot of what you're doing with Twitch, and then cut and change that and use that as a resource for extra stuff. So what we do a lot is take our live streams, we'll cut them up and we'll put them on YouTube as like short bite snippets of content. Having things like clips are really fun for social media. So you can take what you've done in a live stream and then use all that and cut it up and use for different things. Again, people get to be part of the process. They really like to, to engage and interact and be part of that creative drive. So one of the things that we did was we were building some Twitch chatbot integrations on the GitHub channel. And we were thinking, like, Brian and I were having this B-Dougie, if anyone doesn't know B-Dougie, we're sitting there having this conversation, like, what do we use for this? And I said, why don't we just ask the chat? So we kind of just sat there and said, well, people, we've got all these options. Here's the pros and cons. You all choose what we should use to deploy this service. So they can become part of the process like that. And as I mentioned, just having that extra bit of content you can use for different things just really, really helps. So one of the questions I get asked all the time is, how do we get started on Twitch? Do I just, hit the go live button? And if you are a personal streamer, I would always just say, look, just grab any kind of headset and mic and just go for it. Just hit that go live button and just start talking. With a company, or like if you're just sitting there thinking, oh, we really want to do this for our company, it's slightly different. You've got a bit of a brand behind you. So you want to make sure that you're in a bit of a better spot than just grabbing any kind of headset and mic and going for it. So grab some half decent equipment, obviously. Think about what you want to stream. Think about what you've got as a company to offer to people. Matt even said, like, have a look at what's trending as well, which is always useful. But don't just try and do what everyone else is doing. Think about what's unique about your company that you can offer to people. And then use your existing channels to promote what you're doing. So obviously with GitHub, we have a Twitter channel of over 2 million followers. So we tweet that kind of content out. So using and leveraging your existing base, because what you want to do with live streaming is you want to engage your audience and give them something that they might be feeling like they're missing out in this this era of virtualness, I suppose. One thing you can do as well is, if you've got people within your organization who have their own channels, like their personal channels, get them to stream on their channels as well, just to practice and do things without putting the brand behind it if you're a little bit worried. So some of the things that I do, I will be streaming on my personal channel. If everyone hasn't seen, we do a lot of short social media content now to talk about upcoming releases. What I'll often do is, while I'm streaming on my personal account with code, I'll be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this for our next GitHub top tip video. What do you all think? So it's a good way to test the waters if you've got people with personal channels. You can do it that way. It's just useful to give it a try and just see what works, what the audience resonates with. If you haven't done any kind of live streaming before, I definitely suggest having some moderators in your channel to help moderate the chat, so that if you are getting used to presenting first, you don't have to worry about trying to be the presenter and the moderator and the producer. Have a couple of people to help you, so that can be very useful. And then as you grow and progress, take what works and can just continue to do that. And one of the things I really love about streaming with GitHub and with the live coders and so many others is that coders are actually in the best position ever to do a really amazing streams. So one of the other top tips I have, if you haven't started streaming before, is jump onto some of those channels that I mentioned, have a look at what they do. And you'll start saying, oh, I like that. I'm going to do that for my channel or for our channel. Or the Microsoft channel does this. That's really cool. Or InstaFluff's channel does this. That's awesome. And if you jump into some of those coders channels, they have really, really amazing integrations with Twitch, because one of the coolest things about being a coder is you can build anything you want. So like some of the channels you'll jump on, they'll have really cool integrations for if somebody like raids a stream. They have really interactive bots that engage with the audience. They have their own self-hosted servers that are running this really cool stuff in the background that pops up on screen. So coders are really in the best position to be able to do Twitch streaming. And one of those projects that I'd like to call out, which you could totally feel free to use, is Get Twitch. So Brian from GitHub, or BDunky if you don't know him, created this really cool chatbot integration. And in fact, we actually streamed it together on the Twitch channel. And what it does is that you take the repo, clone it, download it, and you add in your GitHub username and the repo you want. And when somebody stars that repo, it pops up on the screen with this cute ass little GIF saying at username starred this repo. So some really cool integrations. He's working on some more stuff too. Like if you make a pull request, it pops up on screen too. So some really cool integrations coming. And I'm really, I can't wait to see some of the other integrations that will be coming soon. So keep an eye out. I mentioned a couple, like go to channels and watch them. So a couple of the channels you can engage with if you'd like to engage with us on Twitch is obviously the GitHub Twitch channel. So come and chat to us. We'd love to have people in the stream. And you can also go to BDuggy's channel as well, who made the Twitch chatbot. As I mentioned, I'm a streamer too. So come and connect with me either on Twitter, come and watch me stream, come and check out some of my videos, come engage with me. I'd love to hear from you if I'm ever doing any kind of live code, even if I'm just gaming as well. You know, people come in while I'm playing Fortnite and will ask about, you know, how to do a hackathon and things like that. So, I'm not sure if we have time for questions, but if we do have time for questions, I'll throw back to the team. But thank you so much for listening, and I hope it was super useful. And if we don't have time for questions, totally feel free to reach out to me either on a live stream or Twitter, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So thank you.